Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whoever you are. I'm pleased to welcome you today to this live streaming. I'm Carlo Pignataro, and the topic I'd like to discuss with you today is creativity. You know, the thing that changes the world, that has changed the world many times over, and that can also change your life. And you know, I talk about it every time with the people I deal with, and I hear so many objections here and there. People telling me, "Oh, but I'm not creative. You know, it's not just who I am. I'm not an artist. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not an inventor. I'm not creative." So let's define creativity. First off, let's define creativity. Creativity is inventiveness, is the use of imagination to create something new, which doesn't necessarily have to be new for the rest of the world, as long as it is new to you. And the reality is that everybody is creative in their own way. Or let me rephrase it. Everybody has the ability, the tools, the inner tools to be creative and to change their world, to change their reality. Unfortunately, there are limits, and those limits are self-imposed limits. People who think of themselves as not creative people end up not creating anything because they don't know where to look in order to create something. But even the creative people, or the people who look at themselves, the people who perceive themselves as creative, don't necessarily access their inner creativity as frequently as they should because of the times we live in. Because we live very, very noisy times in which we are distracted continuously, distracted and pressurized. So both distractions and pressure are the killers of creativity. Distraction comes from distractions comes from the speed at which we have all agreed as society we should live our lives. To be multitasking is not a good idea if you want to trigger your creativity. To be doing emails and listening to music at the same time and perhaps do some physical work is not a good idea. Distraction comes a lot from internet and from the mobile access to internet. I remember traveling years ago, and you would see people reading books in airports, looking around, talking to other people, meet strangers. You don't see that anymore. You don't travel as much as before to start with, but we even when you happen to travel, even when you happen to be in a crowded train station or airport, you see hundreds, thousands of people around you, all looking at the screen of their mobile phones. We don't know how to focus on one thing anymore. Focus is very important. We don't know how to just get bored. Not only we are distracted, but we're also pressurized every time. The world around us, and particularly the business community, keeps telling us that we should be long life learners, that we should learn new skills every time, every day, in order to keep our relevance, our place in the marketplace. Because unless you know what's happening next, you are out of the market. And all this pressure that comes from the admiration of people like Elon Musk, like Steve Jobs, like Mark Zuckerberg, that all this pressure makes you want to learn as much as you possibly can, and always investigate, and always read, and always do, and always try, and always practice, and take this massive action, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Of course, you have to be a long life learner, but let's be realistic. There's a limit to what a human being can learn over the span of their life. So what's really missing today is the time to get bored. Boredom is the greater source of creativity. Or the best tool to trigger your inner creativity. I'll keep this live streaming short because I'm gonna do what I preach. I'm gonna practice what I preach after this streaming. The very idea of losing yourself in nature, of taking a walk in the woods and not do anything. This is where creativity pops up. When you give yourself the time and the space to do nothing, simply nothing, to take a walk, to meditate, to sit and think, or perhaps to sit and not think at all about anything. That's where your inner resources start coming out. And it's about being bored. It's not about not doing something productive, because sitting and watching TV, sitting and browsing the internet, sitting and answering WhatsApp messages has nothing to do with real boredom, with enjoying silence, with listening to the birds singing, with playing with your fingers, with thinking about your past, with playing music in your head, not even listen to music, play music in your head. This is where creativity pops up. It takes time. It doesn't happen in a minute or two, and you have to give it consistency. But we are under too much pressure. We are too often distracted. We need to give ourselves the time to enjoy silence and boredom. Being bored. This should be a mantra in our life because society conspires against us. And every new tool and every new social media is designed to take attention out of what really matters. And what really matters is to find a balance between our spirituality and our body, between our minds and our hearts. And you don't get there doing, you get there not doing, you get there in silence. And I've discovered that not only looking for solutions to keep developing my creativity, because I do think that all the greatest achievements in my life, at least greatest as per my own standards, come from an ability to see the things I wouldn't see before, to go beyond my knowledge and go beyond my experience and go beyond my beliefs. And I believe that, and so I learned, not only practicing, but also ever since I had my two kids, Paolo and Lorenzo. And so I started looking into child psychology. And I learned that if you really want your children to grow creative and to grow in balance, you have to give them the possibility to get bored. If you give them a tablet every time, if you let them watch television as much as they would like to, if you keep making them busy doing things and learning new skills and new sports activities, you are taking away their ability to access their inner resources, those resources that we can call creativity. So my message for today: before I remove my jacket, I wear my my running shoes and I take a long walk in nature, is allow yourself to do nothing. It's great to have goals. It's great to be productive. It's great to be efficient. It's great to compare yourself with Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and all the great achievers and do as much as you possibly can to achieve the results. And it's also great to be a long life learner. But remember that from time to time, you have to give yourself a break. You have to forget about everything and anything. Take a walk in the woods, sit and meditate, sit and think, enjoy doing nothing. And this is where big surprises will come. It's some sort of People, my Muslim friends in the Middle East will understand what I'm saying. It's like Ramadan. It's like fasting. When you fast, when you keep your body clean, when you cleanse your body, because you don't eat for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours in a row, that's where your body cells start working again. And the same happens to your mind. When you give it the time to free up, to not be distracted, to not get pressurized, that's where surprises happen. And everyone is creative, and everyone is creative in their own way. Don't buy the lie that you're not creative, because you are. I hope it helps. I'm going to change and go walk in the woods. Have a great day, everybody.